Only 9 days remained, 9 days until the moment Ricky Pearsall had spent his entire life chasing. Years of training, years of sacrifice, years of setbacks. Years of refusing to give up on a dream that millions of young athletes share, but only a handful ever achieve. His dream was finally within reach, his first NFL game. His first time stepping onto the field as a member of the San Francisco 49ers. Everything he had worked for, everything he had imagined, was finally about to become reality. Then, without warning, everything changed because instead of preparing for the biggest game of his life, Ricky Pearsall was lying on a sidewalk in San Francisco with a bullet in his chest. And the most unbelievable part of this story isn't that he was shot. It isn't even that he survived. It's what he did in those first few moments after the shooting. A decision that may have saved his life. Long before Ricky became an NFL player, he was just a kid with an impossible dream to play football at the highest level. Every year, thousands of athletes dedicate their lives to reaching the NFL. Most never make it. Ricky knew that. Nothing was handed to him. Every practice mattered. Every game mattered. Every opportunity was another chance to prove that he belonged. He fought through years of competition, pressure, and uncertainty until one unforgettable day, his dream finally became reality. The San Francisco 49ers selected him, one of the NFL's most historic franchises, one of the league's biggest stages. The hard part, or so he thought, was over. His entire life had been building toward one moment, his NFL debut. But life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. Sometimes the biggest challenge doesn't come before your dream. It comes right when you are about to leave it. August 31st, 2024, San Francisco. It looked like an ordinary day. People filled the streets. Traffic moved through the city. Tourists wandered from store to store. Nothing seemed unusual. Ricky was attending a fan event, signing autographs, taking pictures, meeting the people who had been excited to welcome the 49ers' newest rookie. It was exactly the kind of appearance every young NFL player dreams about. No one around him realized that in just a few minutes everything would change. Among the crowd, a teenage boy approached Ricky. At first, there was nothing suspicious about it. Professional athletes are approached by strangers all the time. Maybe he wanted a picture, maybe he wanted an autograph, maybe he was just another fan. Then everything happened at once. The teenager pulled out a gun. His target wasn't Ricky himself. He wanted the expensive watch and jewelry Ricky was wearing. Most people, in a moment like that, would think about only one thing: getting away alive. But Ricky did something few people expected. He fought back. The two struggled. For a few terrifying seconds, neither one let go. Then, a gunshot echoed through the street. For just a moment, everything froze. People screamed. Some ran. Others called 911. In the middle of the chaos, Ricky collapsed onto the sidewalk, just 9 days before his NFL debut. The rookie who had spent his entire life earning his opportunity was now fighting for his life. Many people watching believed they had just witnessed the end of a career, maybe even the end of a life, but they had no idea what happened next. Because while most people would have been overwhelmed by panic, Ricky stayed remarkably calm. He reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, and made one call. Not to the police, not to an ambulance, not to his coach. He called his father. There was a reason Ricky made that choice. His father had spent years working as a firefighter and first responder. He knew exactly how to handle life or death situations, but nothing could prepare him for hearing his own son say, "I've been shot." Any parent would panic. But years of emergency training took over. His father stayed calm. He told Ricky exactly what he needed to hear. "Stay with me. Keep breathing. Help is coming." Simple words. But sometimes simple words are powerful enough to save a life. In that moment, his father's voice became Ricky's anchor, the one thing keeping fear from taking over. Minutes later, paramedics rushed Ricky to the hospital. A gunshot wound to the chest leaves very little room for hope. Then they looked at the scans, and what they found was almost impossible to believe. The bullet had narrowly missed his heart. It had missed his lungs. It had missed the major blood vessels. It had missed his spine, just inches. That was the difference between life and death. Had the bullet traveled slightly differently, this story would have ended right there. Instead, Ricky survived. To doctors, it was extraordinary. To Ricky, it felt like he had been given another chance. Physical wounds eventually heal. The invisible ones don't. After leaving the hospital, Ricky's body recovered, but his mind was still trapped in that moment. The struggle, the gunshot, the fear, the uncertainty. Later, he spoke openly about dealing with PTSD, a battle many survivors know all too well. People see an athlete smiling, training, competing, but they don't always see the memories waiting in the background. For Ricky, returning to football wasn't just about healing his body. It meant defeating the trauma that tried to follow him every single day. Not long afterward, Ricky got a tattoo across his chest, an angel. To the most people, it was simply beautiful artwork. To Ricky, it represented something much deeper. The bullet had passed almost directly beneath the angel's outstretched arms. Some people call it coincidence. Others called it luck. Ricky saw it as a reminder that he was still alive. Every time he looked in the mirror, he remembered one simple truth. I got another chance. When Ricky was shot, many people assumed his rookie season was over. Some even wondered if he would ever play football again. But they underestimated him. Recovery became his new mission. Every workout mattered. Every rehab session mattered. Every step forward was another victory. He wasn't just rebuilding his body. He was rebuilding his confidence, reclaiming his future. Then, just 50 days after being shot, Ricky stepped back onto an NFL field. Against all expectations, he was back. The stadium lights, the roaring crowd, the familiar weight of an 49ers jersey. Everything he had dreamed about. Only now, it meant so much more. He wasn't simply making his NFL debut. He was proving that the worst day of his life wouldn't define the rest of it. Then, the ball came his way. His first NFL catch. Later, his first NFL touchdown. To everyone watching, it was just another highlight. another score, another celebration. But to Ricky, it was something entirely different. It was proof. Proof that one bullet hadn't ended his story. Some athletes are remembered because of championships, some because of records, others because of unforgettable moments. But a select few are remembered because they remind us what the human sprite is capable of. Ricky could have been remembered as the victim of senseless act of violence. Instead, he became a symbol of resilience. Life doesn't always follow the plan we've written for ourselves. Sometimes, the biggest obstacle appears just before the biggest opportunity. And in those moments, character matters more than your circumstance. 9 days before his first NFL game, Ricky Pearsall was lying on a sidewalk with a bullet in his chest. Just 50 days later, he walked back onto an NFL field, and before long, he crossed the goal line for his NFL touchdown. Maybe Ricky's greatest victory wasn't making the NFL. Maybe it wasn't surviving the shooting. Maybe it wasn't even scoring the touchdown. Maybe his greatest victory happened the moment he decided. I will not let this be the end of my story, because heroes aren't the people who never fall. They are the people who refuse to stay down.